Welcome to another video on this COVID-19 series. Myself Sonali Soma Mukherjee once more in front of you with few more important topics in hand. You can see very well it's written over here, the third wave of COVID-19 which is likely to happen, inevitable. It's said that this wave of COVID-19 which is very linked to the Delta variant and the new emerging variant which is highly transmissible, that is the Delta plus AY.1 variant having an additional mutation in its spike protein. So all this I'm going to discuss in this video. Along with that, I'm going to have some other topics also very important which is linked with it, that is the herd immunity and monoclonal antibody cocktail therapy, how it is going to be used. Though the detailed analysis will not be done in this video, keeping in mind the generalized audience, well, the detailed analysis will be done in some other video. But for at this moment, I would say one thing, please stay with me till the end of the discussion so that I can cover up with the points one by today. Is the variant of concern which is very linked with the Delta variant. That is the third wave of COVID-19. We know that we are almost done with the second wave. We have seen the surge in the number of cases, the active cases, and we have seen the death toll. Yet, even after so many hardships, even after the vaccination that is going on in the nation in a wide manner, still we are facing another wave. We are almost going to face it. But the question is that at this moment we are not thinking that whether the wave will be there or not. It is almost an inevitable claim that is being done by the experts. And so this third wave of COVID-19, it's very linked to the Delta variant which was first reported in the year of 2020, that is the past year. In the month of October to December, there were cases which was linked with the Delta variant. The Delta variant has shown some other mutation, that is the additional mutation, and that has caused the Delta plus variant which is AY.1. Now the question arises, are we equipped enough to face this? The question of facing the present situation, like it all depends on the COVID appropriate behavior. We just cannot sit back. At this moment vaccination is going on in the nation, but we still do not have the vaccination process being done for the little kids and for the growing kids. So this wave, that is the third wave of COVID-19 which has been first reported in of course the past year, and now that there is an additional mutation in its spike protein. So question arises that when we are going to have it, there is a probability, there is a claim by the experts. Some of the experts say that it will take place in 3 to 4 months. Some have said to occur it in the month of September, and yet some more experts have claimed that it is likely going to happen in 6 to 8 weeks because we are still not learning from the second wave. So what we need to do is a strict law and a stringent law as far as the COVID appropriate behavior is concerned. That whether we are going to have this wave or not, the question is how we are going to fight and when we are going to have this third wave of COVID-19, which is said to be taking place within 6 to 8 weeks. Perhaps it can be even nearer. Keeping that in mind, the first point we need to concern is about the kids, growing kids, because still now we do not have ample vaccination rather for them, and we need to have very strict law and stringent law as far as the COVID appropriate behavior is concerned. As seen from the past wave, there was surge in the number of cases. In early June there were 6 cases of this Delta variant, if you know. So keeping that in mind, the Delta variant, which is a highly transmissible and severe virus causing infectious variant, so keeping that in mind, we need to be even more alert about it. So what is utmost requirement at this moment is how much we can manage with the present situation. Let us see what this variant of concern does mean. So I'm going to just give you a brief idea in this video about this variant of interest and variant of concern. Could the Delta variant be considered as the variant of concern? Yes or no? Or talked about the onset of the third wave is linked with the Delta variant, as there is a mutation in its spike protein, and this mutation has caused a highly transmissible form of virus, you can say, and this has been a mushroom like growth in its spike protein, which is reported. First it was detected in India, and it is some of the places the Delta variant has also been claimed to have been said like a Nepal variant. It is none other than the Delta variant, which is also means it was found in South Africa also. After the detection in India, it spread to even other nations. 60 other nations were reported to have the same variant, and now the situation has arisen that we have another variation, another mutation of this same Delta variant, that is the Delta plus, which is highly transmissible. So I am coming back to the same point, why it is known as the variant of concern. Look, a variant of interest, so far we are not accustomed, we are not habituated with the study of its severity, with the study of its transmissibility. So we can still go on saying that it is a variant of interest, but after studies, after clinical effects, after the severity and the cause, knowing the transmissibility, I can say right now that it has been said, of course, claimed by the experts, that it is a variant of concern. So seeing the severity, and it is the 4th global variant of concern also, first detected in India and then spread to other nations like UK, South Africa, Brazil. So this is a highly transmissible one. So genome sequencing has given us this result that yes, it is highly transmissible one. Now the question arises, so far what treatment we had gone through. Now the treatment that is gone through means for other variants of viruses, virus will mutate. It's a normal behavior for a virus to mutate. Antibody cocktail therapy, and what is it? Look, a virus for its mutation is going to be very much, it's known fact, a virus will mutate. So the present vaccines, will it work with the mutant virus or not? That is also a question mark. Now the question arises, what is monoclonal antibody cocktail therapy? Look, in our body, our immune system, the antibodies that are present in us, the B cells and the T cells, lymphocytes, these have the capability to fight against any foreign intrusion, say a viral infection, in this case the Covid-19 SARS-CoV-2. It has got the capability to fight. That is the natural immunity which is provided, that is the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. One is providing antibodies, the other is going to have the cellular immunity. So at this point, what is the concern is, this Delta plus is having such power of transmission that it is able to evade even the vaccines, even the infection immunity. Means those people who had been infected, they have developed, they have survived, they have recovered, they have developed antibodies. So it has the capability, that Delta plus is why it is a variant of concern, its severity. Look at the severity, that it is capable to evade even the vaccines. It is even able to evade the infection immunity. So there lies the fact that it is so highly transmissible. Now this treatment process, monoclonal antibody cocktail therapy, as I was talking about the natural immune response which is provided by the body, we are trying to, because our immune system has failed to fight this infection. So what we have done is, we have tried to prepare artificial antibodies. And how we are going to do? We are going to extract some unique WBC and we are going to clone it, which will be, you can say, a mimic of this immune response, and this is going to fight the foreign invasion. That is, when such spike protein is having some mutation, it is trying to infect the body healthy cells. It's at this point that the antibodies, that is the monoclonal antibody cocktail therapy, which is also known as you can say AB or MOAB, it is trying to detect which part of the antigen it is going to bind to. Look, the antibodies are the proteins, which treatment all about. Look, monoclonal antibodies have monovalent affinity to bind with the same epitope. What is this epitope? That part of the antigen which will be able to detect, or which will be detected by our antibody. That part of the antigen which is the infectious part will be detected by the antibody. That part is known as the epitope, and in this case the monoclonal antibodies have the capability to bind with that part of the epitope, the same epitope in this case, not the polyclonal antibody. Now here what is happening, monoclonal antibodies which are artificially prepared by us, that is, we have extracted the antibodies from the human blood and then we have cloned them. Monoclonal antibodies, these are artificial antibodies which are prepared by extracting a unique WBC and then cloning them. In this way, all other subsequent antibodies that are prepared in this way will trace back to that same parent cell, you can say. In this case, what we have done in case of COVID-19, what is done is that these antibodies which are artificially prepared by extracting from human blood the antibodies and then cloning them, what we have done, we have injected these into the patients. Now in this case there has been success because these antibodies have the capability to bind specifically to that part of the spike protein which is causing the infection. That part means if there is a mutation in this part, first of all in this part it will bind, these antibodies will bind to that part of that spike protein and it will block the infection from spreading to other healthy cells. In this way it will work. Monoclonal antibody, this treatment process, you can say it has given us successful results in case of mutant virus. It has reduced the death toll also. It has reduced hospitalization, and this treatment process has been practiced in HIV, in case of HIV cure, in case of cancer patients, in case of Ebola virus. So success stories are there. But the limitation, what is the limitation of this monoclonal antibodies, this kind of cocktail therapy? What is the limitation? The limitation is that it cannot be used on critical care or if the person is on oxygen support, so on. So in case of mild and moderate conditions, this treatment process can be practiced. But in case of Delta plus variant, which is a highly transmissible one and which has got that transmission power so high, so in this case the monoclonal antibody cocktail therapy cannot be used, though it has it has given us good result. It is a combination of 2 or more antibodies also. In plasma therapy we do not have a combination in that case, but in case of monoclonal antibody we have a combination of 2 or more antibodies in this case. So looking at the loopholes, the next urge is what should be the strategy. If this Delta plus variant is able to evade the vaccines, the infection immunity, the antibodies, then what could be our strategy? So let me summarize the whole idea. That is, we have talked about the onset of the third wave of COVID-19, which has originated from the Delta variant, and now a new emerging variant, that is the Delta plus variant, which is a highly transmissible one, considered as it has been claimed to be likely taking place within 6 to 8 weeks, and it is a variant of concern. Studying from the genome sequencing, the clinical effects, we have come to this fact that it is the Delta variant, which means this Delta plus has got the original characteristics of the Delta variant and some other additional mutation in its same lineage, that is K417N, that we can have a separate discussion on this mutation, additional mutation. This video is basically about the generalized audience, so keeping that in mind, I have not discussed this part, the additional mutation that has taken place in the spike protein, a mushroom like growth, projection you can say in its spike protein, and thus this variant has emerged, that is the Delta plus variant. In this case we have depended on the treatment process, that is the monoclonal antibodies, which are artificial antibodies prepared from the WBC, unique WBC cells we have extracted, and we have cloned them and we have prepared them. These antibodies are going to fight with this, means it has the capability to bind with that part of the spike protein, and thus it will be controlling on binding, it will be able to control the spread of the virus, that it does not spread to the healthy cells. But the monoclonal antibody, the limitation is that it is unable to handle critical care, it is unable to handle the oxygen support. So this virus, the Delta Plus virus, which is having such a rate of higher transmission and you can say the severity, it can even evade the vaccines, it can even defeat the antibodies, and it can also defeat the infection immunity. So this is where the limitation of monoclonal antibody is lying. Now the next point is about the herd immunity, that is mass population should get vaccinated. In this case, till now we have not achieved, or we have not started also with the little growing kids or the little kids. So vaccination is for a mass population only can help us save from these viral infections. But in case of herd immunity, if we need to attain it, before that we have to have vaccines for the little ones also. So with this I am going to finish up the discussion. Before finishing off, I would again remind you about the third wave, which is already emerging variant is the Delta Plus variant, which has emerged in the 3 states, that is Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Kerala. So do take strict COVID appropriate behavior so that we get some time to study this variant and we can fight, even a bigger fight can be done. With this, I am saying a thank you to all of you for being with me.